Hey guys, Starshaped here. I want to bring you a new workout video. It's been a while. I want to start a new kind of series of videos called Exploring 1.30, where I look at different races and different strategies that have either been enabled or enhanced by the new patch and the changes that we have seen. So this very first game is going to be between Scott in orange, Undead player, against YDK in teal, also an Undead player. And the reason I chose this game is because it's a very unique Undead mirror match, which I think depends a lot on the fact that it is the new patch, which we will see soon. This is just a Battle.net game, which I received from Scott. Played only one day ago, as of this recording. And as we can see already, we have a Crypt Ziggurat build order from Scott, and a Crypt Altar build order from YDK. YDK is going for the Dreadlord first, and a Ghoul build. And Scott obviously also going for Ghoul build. Pretty soon we'll see his hero choice. Which is also a Dreadlord, so I thought this would be a really cool game to watch because obviously if both players are going Dreadlord first, it's very unexplored territory for the matchup. I doubt any player really has a lot of experience with this specific situation here. And they did have a small variation in starting build order, with Scott going for the Crypt Ziggurat, which I believe is... I've talked with him about this. It's a very cool build order with the new patch, because if you go Crypt Ziggurat, as soon as your hero is out, you can pretty much just go expand. You'll have enough wood, you'll have enough units. And the reason this works in the new patch and didn't work before is because now you don't need a graveyard to build or to get the sacrificial skull from the shop. So basically you're saving 215 gold in getting this crucial item. So Scott picks up the Rod of Necromancy and the sacrificial skull, and he's going straight for the expansion. YDK went for a faster altar. He did not get the sacrificial skull. Instead he starts creeping, and then he walks up with his Dreadlord to buy the sacrificial skull, and they're both going to go for fast expansion here. Like I said, I believe Scott's build order here is like the optimal fast expansion build order, but YDK's seems pretty good as well. I can't really say for sure which one is more efficient.
Our forces are under attack.
Dreadlord obviously a great hero for expanding, because you can sleep the big creep. There'll be no bloodlust, no damage from this ogre. And you can focus down the small creeps first. And the sacrificial skull, obviously it gives the ability to build a quick Ziggurat, but also gives a bit of HP bonus to the units creeping. And this is what is so crucial about this build order, is the fact that you can put down that sacrificial skull and instantly get a cold tower, which is like a really strong early defense against any type of harass. So this expansion instantly feels a lot more safe when you can put down that tower right away. Since you did not have to spend the 215 gold on the graveyard, you can get that expansion up faster, and you'll have more goals. And YDK doing pretty much a similar way, with the Halted Gold Mine, Sacrificial Skull, and the quick Ziggurat. And the nice thing for Undead is that the Ziggurat, you know, it's basically a farm that you then turn into a tower, so it's not like you're wasting resources on getting it. You still need supplies, so you might as well build it at your expansion. YDK gets Necropolis, which also got a buff. It costs less now, so it's less of an investment to get that, to ensure that you can resupply any acolytes that get killed. And both players just pretty much creeping up, scouting with their skeletons. YDK sees the expansion. I do not believe Scott has seen YDK's expansion.
Summoning is complete.
But in a game like this, when there's been no action, I guess you can pretty much assume that your opponent has expanded. Scott's just making more goals, getting those acolytes, getting double Nerubian Tower. And we have the first engagement here. Looks like a double surround, double sleep surround on the Dreadlords. Scott committing more to the ghouls, and YDK going for that hero. Looks like it might be a force town portal here from Scott. Nope, he actually gets out there. There's one last sleep. Well, there will be one more. We'll see if this round completes. Oh, nice counter round by Scott here, which will force a town portal. And Scott just barely gets away there. So pretty nice little micro fight there. Dreadlord against Dreadlord probably gets pretty hectic, with both players being able to cast sleep and trying to surround stuff. But yeah, we do have the double Nerubian, which is maybe a bit much, but if you micro them, you can pretty much slow an entire army due to the fast attack speed, and the slow effect lasts pretty long. YDK also gets the double Nerubian. Obviously, since you don't get the early graveyard, you don't really have the option of going Spirit Towers until you get it. So it does make sense, in some sense, to get those double Nerubian Towers. So get level 3 Dreadlord for YDK. I'm curious if he goes for the Aura. It does not look like it. So the question is this level 2 Sleep, or is it level 1 Carrion Swarm? Like, do you want to go 1-1-1, or do you want to focus more on Sleep? Scott is also level 3 with level 1 Aura, so not yet entirely sure. Oh, nice staff. Oh wow, good timing on the sleep as well. This will probably be a forced town portal from Scott, so both players kind of trading these town portals, and YDK instantly starting the creeps right in front of Scott, sleeping the big troll, which is not as efficient since it's level 6, so the sleep does not last as long, but still lasts pretty long, and we do see that it is level 2 sleep. Whereas with Scott, we're not really sure yet.
Summoning is complete.
I imagine it would be nice having Carrion Swarm in a Ghoul Mirror, so I'm not really sure if I agree with the level 2 sleep, but I guess you can always retrain later as well. Boom Bracers for YDK, which is a pretty bad item, since there's no direct hero nuke right now, but it could be good later on. Look at the bases. Scott's tier 2 with 3 crypts, so it looks like a very ghoul and gargoyle heavy build order. YDK is also tier 2 but with 2 crypts. Both expansions heavily fortified. And yeah, here come the gargoyles and a pretty fast tier 3 and creature upgrades for Scott. Both players still just creeping. We have a Death Knight second for YDK, which I think is pretty normal. Whenever you don't go Death Knight first, you usually want to get him as a second hero at least. So we have some harass here, but YDK with the double sleep again. But I think, yeah, he wisely backs off. There's not a lot you can do in this space with the 3 crypt reinforcements that are going to be pumped out. And we do have Pit Lord second for Scott, which is interesting. Obviously the Pit Lord has been buffed this patch as well. Cleave could be really good in these Ghoul Mirror fights. Also Howl of Terror can really hit a lot of units if it's a Ghoul Garg army. So interesting choice, and also it's an undead hero obviously, so if you maybe get Death Knight third, he can heal both of your heroes. The big downside here is you don't get the Unholy Aura, which YDK will have when his Death Knight levels up. But yeah, so far it looks like YDK has the more like late game oriented build order. He's in fact still banking. He's at 40 supply, 1,000 gold, 1,200 gold even. Whereas Scott is quite quickly breaking that upkeep with a lot of gargoyles and upgrades, and I don't see there is a slaughterhouse. So both players getting a slaughterhouse, but there is also the sacrificial pit from YDK, which kind of indicates there might be frost worms, but in a gargoyle mirror that seems like it might be a mistake, so maybe it's just for shades. Do a level 2 Vampiric Aura on the level 4 Dreadlord. Still not level 4 for YDK.
Summoning is complete.
Upgrade wise, we have the 1 attack upgrade for YDK, the 1-0 for Scud as well, but with 2-0 on the way. So getting the attack upgrades makes a lot of sense with the Vampiric Aura in those Gargoyle Mirror fights. And yeah, we do have Howl of Terror, and looks like Cleave. So obviously Cleave, as I mentioned, did get a buff. And we did see it as well if you watched Remo's Dojo, where Boka played Pit Lord, solo Pit Lord, and got level 3 Cleave, and it was just amazing how big the area effect is. So it has definitely become a strong spell. The question is if it's appropriate for the hero. Like, do you really want to put to get a Pit Lord for DPS for tanky Cleave attacks? I'm not really sure yet, but he's interesting. We might just see in the future just how strong he is.
Research complete.
So still more creeping. Scut, like I said, not banking at all, just pumping out ghouls, gargoyles, statues. And YDK has also broken at this point with ghouls, gargoyles. Yeah, there is a Boneyard and a Lich Third. He'll probably pick up an orb. Oh, he already has it on his Dreadlord. So the Boneyard is an interesting pick. He must know that Scut is going for a gargoyle-based army, so he might not even build a Boneyard until maybe super late game when all the gargoyles are gone as a surprise switch. Yeah, YDK definitely sees all of these gargoyles at this point. Orb of Darkness, kind of bad item. Probably the worst you can get at that spot.
Research complete.
So more upgrades on the way. No bone, no Frostworm just yet. Just more gargoyles. It is a very passive game, but it makes sense. If you're both going for these expansions, like, it's very difficult to actually take a fight in the main or the expansion. So if both players have an expansion and an Undead Mirror, I imagine this happens quite a bit where both just kind of creep as much as they can. But here we get the first very big engagement. Skull Protection by YDK. Bit of a miss micro. A bit of attack move as well. You really have to micro these gargoyles so they don't attack the ground. Looks like Scut overwhelmingly wins this fight. Good focus fire micro by Scut. Ghouls focusing down statues. Yeah, I mean, I'm just gonna pause the game. Like, look at the supply difference here, 65 to 45. They were pretty even when that fight started. There was a protection scroll for YDK, and I believe Howl of Terror really did a whole lot in this fight, as well as the gargoyle macro that we saw from Scud. Like, gargoyles are actually very difficult to control because if you just attack move them, they will oftentimes use the ground attack, which is not what you want. So you have to manually select your gargoyles and make them attack, which we saw Scud was doing, killing one gargoyle at a time. It's quite hectic, and it's very difficult to do when there's a lot of gargoyles in the air. It's kind of hard to make out what's happening. But a lot of that, I think, was Howl. And we do have Carrion Swarm, so YDK did retrain. I must have missed that, but did retrain the Carrion Swarm. Probably, no, Scott did pick Sleep level 3 over Aura level 3. I probably would have gone for a Vampiric level 3, but both fine. So YDK just doing as much as he can at this point.
Summoning is complete.
With his Carrions, trying to get a bit of damage in, but at this point it looks pretty much over. One last Desperation Carrion Swarm, the altar goes down. There is a third expansion or a second expansion for Scud. This is impossible to come back from. And there we see the massive Howl. See pretty big fleet attacks as well. And he's tanking quite well, so. So GG, that was the First game in my new series. Interesting to see the Pit Lord. I kind of underestimated him, but he did seem, in this very specific situation where it's like double ghoul mirror with both players fast expanding, he's actually quite nice and tanky, and he really does a good job with his Howl. But assuming your opponent wasn't doing the same thing you're doing, like if it's ghouls against fiends or something, then probably you wouldn't want to get that Pit Lord, but it's an interesting choice by Scott. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you for watching. I'll try to post more of these 1.30 replays with different strategies for different races, and kind of talking about what the patch effects and what changes have been made. And if you have a replay that you've played or that you've seen, then feel free to send it to me. You can contact me by my Twitch, Starshaped STHLM on Twitch, and maybe I can cast that game. Otherwise, I'll try to get others from other players. I got this one from Scott, like I said, so shout out to Scott. His Twitch is Scott Okova, Scott Okova on Twitch if you want to watch him. So thank you for the replay, and thank you guys for watching.